Hello, and welcome to the third video in the Bubble Critic Forums tutorial video series. In the previous videos, we set up our forms to arrive at this state right here. Now, in this video, we will go through all of these settings and see what each one does. However, we will skip the appearance settings, as that will be covered in the next video. So let's start here with the initial privileges, and let's look at this first setting here. If you need help with understanding what any of these settings do, you can always click on a question mark, and it will explain exactly what the setting does. So these are all pretty obvious, I would imagine, but let's take a look anyway. So when a brand new user comes to your forums and wants to start creating posts, that user, by default, will be allowed to create 5 posts per day. If we want new users to be able to create more or less, we can click here and change this value to, let's say, 10. And now a new user will be able to post 10 times per day. Similarly, this is how many threads they can create per day. Let's change this to 5. And here's where you can allow them to be able to edit their own posts. So let's turn this on, and let's turn on pinning posts in a user's own thread. And now let's see how this affects new users. So I'm going to create a brand new user by first logging out of this account. So let's log out, and then log in, sign up, click sign up, and enter in our email address. All right, and just like that, we have a new account with username user1370. Okay. All right, so we're logged in with user1370. Let's check out our message real quick. We get the welcome message. And now let's look at our privileges. We do that by going to our profile and then clicking on privs. And now as you can see, we have 10 posts per day, 5 threads per day, and we are allowed to edit our own posts, and we are allowed to pin posts in our own thread, all because of those initial privilege values that we set. So let's log back in with our admin, and we'll go back to the admin controls. So the next set of settings is the privilege unlock speeds. And so these are the same privileges that are inside the initial privileges, but with the privilege unlock speeds, we can set how quickly those privileges unlock. So right now, the posts per day are initially 10, but users will increase this value for their account when they post good content into the forums. And the speed that this value increases for their account is determined by this slider here. So if we wanted to leave it at 10, we would slide this down to 0 so that it would always remain 10. They would never get more posts per day. But if we want the user to be rewarded and rewarded quickly, we can set this to 10, and now they wouldn't have to post much good content before they would increase their post per day value. So let's just leave this at 5. And next we have threads per day. It's the exact same thing as posts per day. So initially we have it set to 5, but they will unlock more threads per day, dependent on the value here. So then we have edit own posts and pin posts in own thread, but it is disabled because there is no unlocking it because it's already turned on by default for new users. But if we have these turned off, now we can adjust these values. So a brand new user cannot edit their own posts, but they will unlock the ability at an average speed. Or we can leave it so that they can never edit their own posts, or make it so that they can edit their own posts after they've posted just a bit of good content. All right, so let me set this slider back and turn these privileges back on. And then we'll look at auto-assign mod titles. So there are 3 levels of moderator. Moderator 1, 2, and 3. Each level comes with its own set of privileges. And I won't be diving too deep into those privileges because that'll be in a future video. But let's quickly take a look at those privileges by clicking on this button. So as you can see, we have it set so that moderator level 1 gets to have this privilege right here, edit other posts. Moderator level 2 gets this one and delete posts and edit thread titles. And then moderator level 3 unlocks all these privileges. So again, I'll be going into all these privileges later in a future video, but I just wanted to show you how each level of moderator has a different set of privileges associated with that level. So let's go back. And now we can understand what these settings do. So users who post a lot of good content into the forums can automatically unlock these moderator titles, thus getting those privileges. And these sliders control how quickly users can unlock the titles, and it also controls how many of them will eventually get the title. So by default, it's set so that moderator level 1 will automatically be granted to some users eventually. Moderator level 2 is a bit more difficult to unlock as they will hardly ever be automatically granted. And the moderator level 3 is almost impossible to automatically unlock. But if you want to reward a lot of users quickly, with moderator level 1, you would just up this slider like that. Or if you don't want to have moderator titles assigned to users automatically, you just turn them all off. So I'm going to set it back to the default values. And then we'll take a look at this last set of settings, the miscellaneous settings. So as I showed you with that new user, that user received a welcome message. That message is determined by this value here. So the message will say welcome to, and then hostname, forums. Hostname is whatever value you have here for your website name. So this translates into welcome to demonstration forums. All right, and then we have these chat settings. Let's first look at the allow anchored chat. So it is turned on by default, and that means that this window here pops up on the side of the screen if there's enough space for it. This window contains personal messages, the chat rooms, and replies to our posts. Now let's go turn off anchored chat and see what clicking on this does now. Now, instead of popping up on the right side of the screen, it pops up in the middle, on top of the forums, just like any other pop-up. So the reason why you may want to do that, turn this setting off, is if I have content over here that I do not want to be obscured, then I will have this set to be a normal pop-up. Because if anchored chat is turned on, this window will be displayed here constantly as users browse the forums over here and then write messages to each other and chat in chat rooms over here. This window was designed to pretty much be always displayed, which means that our content over here would always be blocked. All right, now lastly, let's get into the chat rooms. Here for the chat setting, we have 5 different options. We can just turn off chat, which means that chat rooms do not exist. The chat button that was down here and normally exists down here for all the topics has disappeared. And the tab right here has disappeared as well. So that's what turning off chat rooms does. Now let's take a look at the other 4 settings. So the default setting is on everywhere, shared, which means that this chat button is displayed for all topics. It is on everywhere. And what shared means is that all of these chat buttons go to the same shared chat room. And the chat room is named whatever the website name is, in this case, demonstration. So each of these chat buttons all go to the same demonstration chat room. So now let's look at on everywhere separate. On everywhere separate. So now that chat button is on everywhere, here, here, here. But each topic now has its own separate chat room. So there's a chat room for the games topic, for the home topic, for all the different topics. They each have their own separate chat room. All right, and now let's look at on where set. Well, let's first look at the chat setting for topics. As you can see, allow chat has been disabled, and that's true for all these topics. They all have allow chat disabled, and that's because we have an on everywhere chat setting here. But if we do on where set, like let's choose this one, on where set shared, now the topics have the chat setting enabled. So I can go through each topic and set if I want chat turned on or off there. So for the home topic, let's turn it off. And then for the general topic, we will turn it off. And the games topic, let's turn it off. And then we'll see that the chat button has disappeared from home and from these labels. There's no more chat button. However, the topics that we have it turned on, the chat button is still there. And we have on where set shared. So now they all share the same chat room once again. So now let's look at on where set separate. So it's the same thing. Chat has disappeared from here and it's not here for these labels. But then when we go to a topic that has a chat button, you can see there's a chat room for each of the topics where the chat has been turned on. All right, and that does it. We've gone through all the settings except for the appearance settings. These appearance settings will be in the next video. I definitely recommend watching that next video because it allows us to radically change the appearance of our forums. All right, I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching this video.